Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire.
Welcome back to Wind Tunnel TV. Tonight it's the RGR Sauce It Up series, the Xfinity series. We're live at Iowa for the Iowa 125. Can't wait to get this one going. I'm Dean Doucette, joined as always by Mr. Jared Carr. Jared, one of my favorites, Iowa here.
Yeah, it's going to be a great race. A lot of multi-groove racing going on in this race tonight, Dean. It's a short track, which you don't see a whole lot of multi-groove racing at short tracks, but it is a, very fast, very quick, very nice track, and we're going to see a lot of action out here tonight.
Yeah, we are. It's going to be interesting. Now, you get a little bit of insight to the car. Now, the truck seems to have changed a great deal. This car, maybe not so much with the updates. But what do you expect to see here, Jared? Do you expect to see a return to the old ways here at Iowa, more high line, or you see some low line down in 3 and 4?
Yeah, I think that this track is very mixed, right? It looks and feels like a track you would want to run low, but the angle of the corners are very tight. They're not quite like Richmond. So therefore, you're kind of looking to run that high side, but the problem with the high side is it does wear out those tires a lot more, front and rear tires, so you want to be sporadic, but at the same time, turn 1 and 2 is extremely rough on the bottom side, so you hit those bumps, the car gets upset, so it's kind of a fine line, a little bit of a give and take on how you run this track, Dean.
Very interesting take. Definitely directly against how I run this track, Jared. Low in 1 and 2 is my bread and butter. High in 3 and 4, my bread and butter. So we'll see how these guys attempt this stuff.
Yeah, see, it's going to be a great race. It's going to be interesting too, Dean, because there's a lot of guys that aren't here tonight. And going to be interesting to see who could step up and be a part of that conversation for victory.
Well, definitely. I mean, Greg Ratliff, is he here tonight? He is, so he is your points leader. His official points here, we have a 10-point lead over Ripka, who hasn't been here for a couple of weeks, I believe, and still second in the points. Darren Bruce, not here, is third in the points. Wrecker, Beller, Leal, Newton, Spear, Person, and Hund in your top 10. Going to be interesting to see how this shakes out as guys come and guys fade during the summertime here. It's hard to get everybody in during the summer, Jared.
Indeed it is, Dean, but we're going to have a good race tonight, and I'm sure it's going to be exciting as it always is.
All right, everybody lining up and getting ready to go here as we bring you tonight's starting order here. It's Adam Newton out front in that number 2. He's liking this car, he's liking this series, and he's liking this track. He gets on the pole at a time of 23.629. Michael Ottoviani starts on the outside of row number 1, and we've been talking a lot about how much he's been practicing, and it pays off, folks. Here he is on the outside of row 1. Bernard Person and Adam Wrecker will start in row number 2. It's Rachel Hunt with Greg Ratliff there in row 3. Spear and Corey Martin will start in row 4. Preston O'Brien will start in 9th with Jason Ratliff in 10th. 11th will be the Toad Man Todd Gilly with Austin Hund. Then you've got Ratliff Dibble, Tony Ratliff, and Thomas Wolf. Might have mixed up a few of those along the way there, Jared.
Yeah, we got Thomas Wolf, Ratliff, Jason Ratliff, Tony Ratliff, and George Dibble on the back half of this field. But Dean, it's going to be interesting. Coming into tonight's race, we do have some guys out here in the top 5 in points, top 10 in points, have not won yet. We talk about Adam Wrecker. He's in 4th in points. This could be a good points night for him. He has not won yet this year. Adam Newton on our pole setter tonight. He has not won. Neither has Jason Spear, Bernard Person. None of those guys have won yet this year. And then you have to go back guys like Todd Gilly, George Dibble, Tony Ratliff, all in the field tonight, Dean, that have not won. In fact, their only winner out here tonight is, in fact, Greg Ratliff there in the 5 machine. He's the only guy out here that has won a race so far this year, and Austin Hunn, who won Daytona earlier this year.
Well, I'm going to open up the betting lines. You got Greg Ratliff or you got the field? Or Greg Ratliff and Hunt or the rest of the field?
I think I'll take the field, Dean. I think we're going to see a first-time winner here tonight.
All right, the field for Jared. I mean, I'm with them. I'm not going to reveal who I'm taking here quite yet with my inside information, Jared.
All right, we'll see. Base car's off, Dean.
All right, green flag down and away. Newton leads him down into corner 1. Bernard Person, good jump. He's going to get the jump on Otto Viani. He's stuck up on the high side.
And everybody's going to cycle in. We got the 85 car, apologies, up on the high side, Dean. And, oh, Newton hit the wall off turn 2. That's going to open the door for Bernard Person to take over.
Wow, early carnage already. Newton in the wall. Person can't get it done through 3 and 4. A little tentative there, and it's a little too early. I like that he was a little tentative there.
And he's still not giving up, though. That inside line is better in 1 and 2 if you can hold over the bumps. But the run off turn 2 on the high side is the quicker way around here. Going into the 3 and 4, you'll see Bernard Person slides it down in there, but Newton's going to have a run off the corner. Person, he can't quite clear him. I think he could have aggressively cleared him, but elected not to.
Well, I like that move. Don't clear yourself on that one particular corner on this track because you want the inside going down to 1 and 2, which he takes, and now he takes the lead. Put Bernard Person on the point.
But Dean, what I was talking about with that 85 car, up on the very high side of 1 and 2, there are some treacherous bumps, and that will send your car right in the wall if you're not careful up in that third seam. So you have to kind of be a little bit careful up there.
Now, Jerry, I'm just trying to find who. There is no 85 by number on the standings, so I'm not quite sure who you're referring to at this time.
I apologize. The 95 there from the camera I had, it is kind of looks like an 85, so I apologize about that.
Austin Hunt out there, so that's one of our race winners out here. In that unmistakable racewear machine here. Always good to have a car people can recognize, Jared.
Absolutely. I mean, people aren't going to not be able to see you coming, that's for sure.
Rachel Hunt underneath the Jason Spear here trying to make a move. The 1 machine looking pretty good.
She's doing a good job. Spear on that outside line there gets that run, so Rachel's going to tuck back in line. There's Todd, the Toad Man, Gilly there, moving up there. What I love about this track, especially 3 and 4, where it's actually smooth, is you can run all over the place in 3 and 4. You can run the low side, hug the yellow line. You can run the middle groove. You can run the high side. 1 and 2, you can run the bottom. It's a little bumpy, but you can run the bottom. The middle is the easiest line to run, and the high side is treacherous to run.
It is treacherous, isn't it?
So it's a great track. Makes it really good racing, and you see Greg Ratliff getting under O.D. Viani in the 77 machine.
Yeah, I mean, Ratliff powering on through, rocking that sauce it up machine. He move him up to 3rd. Of course, he's our big-time winner here. He's got multiple, and he's be looking for another one tonight. He's got Newton in Person to hunt down. And now that I see Person out front, I think I'll choose him, Jared.
Yeah, and that's the thing, Dean. We've covered, a lot of races over the last 5 years, and, Bernard Person and various other leagues over time. He is a guy that once he gets out front, he is a guy that's really difficult to pass because he's hard to pass, number one, but he also takes care of himself while expanding the lead. And he's very, very conscious about how he drives, very easy on the gas, very easy on the throttle, the turning, and all that stuff. So he doesn't use his stuff up, and it's just makes it really hard to catch back up to him.
Yeah, I would say it's very track specific too with Bernie because he's so adept at rolling the corner, Jared. Tracks like this, tracks like Richmond, if he gets clean air and stuff, yeah, he can be very dangerous. But do not count out Newton and Ratliff. They are right there, ready to pounce. We're only on a lap 11 of 140. Let's hop on board with Ratliff, shall we, and see what he's going through here on the track.
Yeah, and you look at Greg Ratliff, he's running that high side. Oh, he got a little bit loose off the corner, Dean, heading down into turn 1. And you'll see Ratliff is running that middle groove, so he kind of avoids those entry bumps there. The left sides are kind of on the bumps, but not really. And you get a nice run off, and he's going to run that third groove. He's up above that high seam, and then he cuts down. So he's doing that diamond arc, so he's not putting too much on that right rear coming off that corner, Dean. Otherwise, if you kind of wrap the high side, if you will, you do put a lot of wear and heat into the right rear. So Ratliff doing a good job, putting a little bit of pressure on Adam Newton here.
Yeah, he's running a little higher than I'd like to. Normally, I like to put those lefts on that seam, Jared, where those dash lines are. And you see, he's kind of mixing it up here a little bit all over the place here through 3 and 4. And you can do that, especially in the early parts of the run.
Absolutely. Ratliff moving in, and these top 3 have kind of checked out on the next group of guys. You do have Ottaviani back there in 4th. He's under a little bit of pressure there on the 11 machine of Adam Recker. But otherwise, the field kind of status quo from where they started.
Yeah, Recker having a nice race here in 5th, right behind Ottaviani. You got Spear in 6th, the Toadman in 7th. Hunt has dropped a couple to 8th. Jason Ratliff, our big mover, picking up 3 spots here in the 55. And this is this Remington car, lately, he's shown a lot of speed, Jared.
Yeah, Tony Ratliff having a good run there in that machine. Jason Ratliff, apologies, in the 55 machine there. Little Rick Mast throwback there, so pretty cool to see that paint.
Only you, Jared, only you.
Yeah, and right in front of him is Corey Martin, who made his debut last week, had a pretty decent run there. And then you got Rachel Hunt. Rachel's battle with Todd Gilly there, and Todd Gilly making the pass, so move Todd Gilly up 1 spot into 7th place.
Well, I practiced a little with the Toad Man last night, and we'll see if he picked up a little something, because he looks pretty strong here, Jared.
Yeah, he's moving up. It's really a track that seems to be suiting him pretty well, as he's going to put some pressure on Jason Spear here. Spear running a little bit higher, Gilly running right in the middle of that groove and not really letting that car wash too much. And that's going to make, the rears heat up a lot. He's really high into 1. That is a tough line to run. Really bumping. You see he lost a little time there. Rachel Hunt's going to get on the inside of him, come off turn 2.
Yeah, his line in 3 and 4 is exactly what I like to see. Not that time. I like to have those lefts on that seam, but you get in 1 and 2 high like that, Jared, it gets dangerous in a hurry, doesn't it?
Absolutely, and that especially, if you run force feedback, it can really jar the wheel out of your hands, and it can just be for a really bad time. Even if you don't run force feedback, it's pretty bad. But right now, Rachel Hunt putting Gilly under pressure here, as Gilly had already made the pass. Rachel Hunt dives underneath there. She's going to stick to the bottom, though, but she's going to be pinched off here on the outside. Does have a clearing, does make the move. Gilly elects not to cross over.
We're off the nose of Corey Martin here, as we've seen that move go. Martin down to the low side here. So Gilly staying on that high side. I find it interesting. I do not like the high side in 1 and 2. That's personal preference, though, Jared.
Yeah, and while this is going on, Greg Ratliff has caught up to Adam Newton, and there was trying to make a move in 3 and 4, couldn't quite do it. So he's lost a little bit of time there, but he was right on the back bumper of Adam Newton in 3 and 4, but he just got a little bit too tight on the bottom, I believe.
Yeah, 3-way race as of right now, but don't count out Ottaviani. Now, he seems to have been saving his stuff, very conscious. He's trying to plot a long run here, and you have to, Jared. This has a real green flag feel to it.
It does. You look at these lap times. Ottaviani, the fastest guy on the track that last lap with a 7.59, all 24-second lap time.
Contact between Gilly and Martin there. Martin backs out of it. They almost wrecked, Jared.
Yeah, that was almost our first caution, Dean, and Gilly backed out. Everything looks like they're going to be back under control here, but these guys are heating up, and even Austin Hunt back there, a little contact with, I believe that was Preston O'Brien, who is making his series debut here tonight.
So getting a little rough here. You see Tony Ratliff trying to go in there.
Yeah, we got, pretty much from Jason Spear all the way back to Thomas Wolf is one pack. Then you got a couple guys that are, separated out. That's the Wrecker and Ottaviani. Oh, Gilly's loose off the corner. Almost wrecked it.
Not sure what happened there with
and
Gilly.
Dibble's in the wall. George Dibble up in the wall. Sorry, Dean.
Things are heating up around here, Jared.
And we're right in that time frame, right? 25, 30 laps. The tires have, whatever you've done to the tires is now showing up. And the thing I tell people is, whatever you do in the first 5 laps is how your tires are going to react for the rest of the run, especially in this B car. So if you're sitting there, you're abusing the tires in the first 5 laps, all of a sudden you get to lap 30 and the handling's just gone, or you're struggling with something with the car because you overdrove the first 5 laps. And I think right now you're looking at guys that took care of their stuff in that early part of the race, and guys that are also having some problems with maybe the tire wear. Gilly tight off the corner right now.
Yeah, Gilly's struggling a little bit. Martin's gotten around him. He's fallen to 10th position, and he continues that high line in 1 and 2. I'm not sure how that's going to make that car react as we go along.
It looks to be pushed loose, right? So the car right here, center of the corner, just will not cut. So he's turning the wheel, and it looks a little bit better there, but you see how much time he lost. So he's having to slow down the car in the middle because it's just not working for him right now.
Very interesting. Big gaggle of cars here, Jared.
Absolutely. And this is really our only battle on the track, the battle for, let's call it the battle for 10th position here, with about 6 cars involved all the way back. Austin Hunn back to George Dibble at the tail end of this group.
Yeah, Wolf, you got to watch out for him. He started last on the field. He always does, and he always moves through the field. A little tough here at Iowa, Jared. You find there's a real leveling out process that happens here at Iowa. You talk about tire saving in the first 5 laps. I agree with you wholeheartedly, except for at Iowa, it just seems so painful to reel a car in. You're not talking a 10th a lap. You're talking a 10th every 3 laps.
Absolutely, and you see Thomas Wolf underneath Tony Ratliff, and Gilly was on the top there, and it was 3 wide, and Wolf kind of got pinched down, had to back out.
Yeah, it's so hard to pass here. I almost want to get on top of someone rather than get underneath them, Jared. Let's go ahead and try and fit it between them and the wall and get that spot.
Ooh, Gilly's in the wall on entry, and he is sliding the car. He somehow recovers that thing, and he's going to battle back, but it looked like he might have gotten stuck in the wall there. But he's doing a good job holding on to it. But that thing is evil right now for him.
Yeah, he is not enjoying this right now, no doubt. Scraping the wall up there. Oh, and Tony Ratliff slides up in front of him there. He'll have to check a bit. That'll bring Wolf down to his inside.
Wolf doing a good job hugging that yellow line. He's just can't get the run off the corner because Gilly's kind of coming off the corner.
Oh, he hits the wall again.
So Wolf is clear now, but Gilly dives it in there. So Wolf's not going to be able to clear him. Yes, he does, just barely. So move Wolf up into 12th position there.
Yeah, Gilly is working hard back there. Meanwhile, up front, Bernard Person's starting to open it up a little bit. He's walking away just a hair. Now up close to a second gap, back to second place, Adam Newton. Greg Ratliff right there. We're on lap 33 at 140.
Yeah, I was watching these lap times while those battles are going on. The top 4 pretty much running identical lap times. 048, 016, 057, 047. Then it's about a 10th difference back to Adam Wrecker and Jason Spear. They're both running 1s. Jason Ratliff, though, Dean, is running an 083. So watch out for Jason Ratliff coming through this field, Dean, in the number 55 machine.
Yeah, that's like I said. Jason's had a lot of speed. Qualifying, not that kind to him. But outside of that, a ton of speed. And you see there, just closes up. He's got a bit of a different angle he's running there. I like what he's doing through 1 and 2.
Right now, Rachel Hunt also pretty quick on the track. As Bernard Person gets back into the 24-second bracket at 9.58. The only driver to do it last lap. But right now, Rachel Hunt has got a mirror full of the Jason Ratliff machine, Dean.
So Ratliff making some moves here, trying to close up on Rachel Hunt. Rachel pulls away on entry there, though, and down the track goes a 55, looking to get a little grip, a little run. Maybe not. Up front, Person still a second ahead of Newton. Ratliff hanging in there. Otto Viani and Wrecker a little further back. So we end up right back where we started with this Hunt-Ratliff battle.
Yeah, and I was watching Greg Ratliff for a minute, Dean, and it seems like that the wear of the tires have kind of gone away for him. It's just not working for him. He's lost a little bit of time to Adam Newton. He had been about 2 or 3 tenths on average behind. Now he's dropped back to a half a second, 6 tenths back, about a tenth slower a lap, about a half tenth to a full tenth slower per lap than Adam Newton. So Ratliff kind of checking into a third place spot right now. Doesn't seem to be able to put the pressure on Adam Newton very well.
Yeah, let's ride on board with him here and just see what we can see from Mr. Greg Ratliff in the Sauce It Up machine.
Get on board here, and you look into turn 3, and he's just running that middle groove. And look at the hands. One thing you can tell about a tight car, Dean, is when you turn the car initially, and then the car you have to turn it more in the middle of the corner. So when you're turning initially on entry, and then you're turning more to try to cut that car down, and you can tell right there that's going to be indicative of a situation in which you're going to develop a push loose syndrome once you get further and further into the run. And I think that Ratliff is doing that because he's trying to diamond the corner, kind of late diamond the corner there, and it is working. So he has changed his lineup a little bit, probably trying to get more heat on the right rear, Dean.
I'm still confounded here, Jared, by why none of these top 3 are running the high line in 3 and 4. It is faster.
It is, but the thing about the high line in 3 and 4 is that the car will go away a little bit quicker if you abuse the high side. So, I mean, I think lap 40, these guys, you're talking probably within the next 10 or 15 laps, probably within the next 30 or 40 laps they should be pitting here. So maybe they're just kind of waiting that out.
75% fuel, right, Jared?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're still looking at, well, maybe we got a fuel mileage situation on our hands here, Jared?
I don't know the exact number. I believe that you could do 90 laps on a 100% tank. So I think it's 75 is my guess, or 65,
well, that would
I
be
should say.
3/4 of 100, but it'd be 68 maybe, somewhere in there. So we could have a fuel mileage situation. We get guys perhaps milking it. And I look to someone like Otto Viani. He's got the speed, but he did come out a little slow. And maybe he was cognizant of this. Or, of course, Jason Spear, who's always on top of this kind of thing. We'll see if it becomes a factor. Right now, lap 43, a 140. Person is just dominating right now, opening up a 1 3/4 second lead. The 8 machine on a mission here tonight.
Yeah, the 1.6 second lead is pretty huge at Iowa. I mean, you're talking about 10% of your lap time, right? I mean, that's where we're at right now with Bernard Burson, just about 8% of lap time difference. So that's pretty insane to see that. So he is doing a great job and continues to work really hard at holding that car down to the bottom and being smooth.
Well, I said I was confounded about nobody running the top, but if we're talking fuel mileage, you cannot be running that high side in 3 and 4, can you, Jared?
No, you can't, and that's the thing, is it is going to burn a lot more fuel off, because when you talk about Iowa being a 7/8 of a mile track, it is measured on that yellow line. That is where they measure tracks, is on basically the transition from the banking to the flat, the apron there. So anything you go up higher, you're obviously increasing the radius of the track and the mileage of the track. So it is going to definitely affect your fuel mileage.
All right, we hop on board with Jason Ratliff this time, as it's in-car cameras with the Ratliffs tonight, as he stalks Jason Spear here. Spear looking very smooth and content, but Jason looks like he's got, Ratliff that is, has just a hair more speed, and you see him go up the track trying to get a run here.
Yeah, this is going to be the thing, is the thing about the new generation of the Xfinity car on iRacing is without any tape on these machines, and this is a fixed slip league, so it doesn't quite have the same impact. But once you start getting in somebody's wake, it is extremely hard to make a move the later and later the run is. You have to have a tire advantage in order to make passes unless somebody's just significantly slower on the car, or you have to run in a spot where they are not. You see right there, Ratliff moves up a lane to try to get some clean air on the front end of that car, but he got up there too high, too late, and lost some time.
Well, he did something, Jared, that I've seen a little bit at Iowa lately, and that would be the new generation. I was scared you were going to go to the new generation of people in those comments, but nonetheless, these cars, I've noticed where guys have drive it into one, say, very hard, very deep, and almost come to like a stop and turn left and get out of there. Is that a viable strategy here?
I think, it can be, but the big problem is that does tend to make the car loose on entry, and if there's one thing a driver that is trying to win a race or trying to finish well in a race doesn't want is to be loose on entry. It is the worst thing your handling can have at a racetrack, Dean. But
right,
while that was going on,
Eric Whiting hits pit road here.
Yeah, apologies. There's was some battling going on behind Jason Ratliff, and it involved Tony Ratliff in the 6 machine, Corey Martin there on the high side, and Thomas Wolf all in that battle.
Wolf going down, trying to squeeze it down the middle, Jared. There was no room, and he said, I'm coming regardless. I think his patience is gone.
Corner, here we go. Oh, he's stuck. He's going to wreck. They're going to wreck.
Wolf would not give up on that move. He tried it twice, and the second time
and here's the 45.
Oh.
The 45 did not. What in the heck was that?
Well, that was inexperience, Jared. That was Preston O'Brien there coming in with a little, I guess you'd call that ARCA brake in there, Jared.
Unbelievable. Just saw him at the corner of my eye and could not tell what happened there or who it was, but my goodness, that is going to end. I think that's going to end Austin Hunn's night. That car is heavily damaged. Tough break.
Yeah, I think Wolf just lost his patience, hanging back there, faster car, and you see Preston come in there with a full head of steam. My goodness. No brakes on that machine, Jared. Everybody coming down pit road.
And this is going to change this whole entire race upside down, in my opinion, Dean.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, fuel mileage out the window, so anybody who was playing that game is really pissed at whoever caused these wrecks. And secondarily, I think this is right up Bernard Person's alleyway. He looks so strong. Now, the key is on the restart whether he can get the lead and whether he can be patient enough to ward them off for that 20-25 laps, because he looked like the best guy in the long run too, Jared.
Person down the way, Greg Ratliff down the way, and Adam Newton almost won the race off pit road, but it is going to be Bernard Person if he didn't speed, because he was on the limiter.
All right, Person holds control here at the front. So we shake it up on lap 53. That's going to be 87 laps remaining at the line as Corey Martin comes in a lap later here, the 34 down pit road.
That's a tough break. I mean, it's a situation where, if you're Thomas Wolf, you feel like you're faster. You're trying to make moves. Guys are kind of racing each other, but they're also not cutting you a break at the same time. And it's just a bad situation, right? And at the end of the day, like, when you put your car there, you're expecting everybody to know where you're at. And that's just the result is a wreck.
Right.
When people,
I put a lot of heat on Thomas there, but from his perspective, he's like, I'm here. You shouldn't come back up into me, right? But I mean, you're rolling the dice, aren't you, Jared? If you're going to put everybody in a tough spot, you're expecting a lot from two different people.
Absolutely, and that's the thing is you have to expect that. You can do that with some people, put it right there, but you have to be able to trust people, right? And you don't know. If you haven't raced around other guys, sometimes you'll see a situation in which you are, they don't expect you to be there. And I think that's exactly what happened there.
Well, Jared, I've got some trust issues, so, a story for another day, perhaps. It's kind of like trusting Rory McIlroy to close out the U.S. Open. You just shouldn't do it.
Yeah, didn't happen today.
Couple of
Didn't happen at
two-footers
all.
there. Got a little bit of the jitters going. Someone in this booth knew that was going to happen, Jared. I don't know how.
Well, I didn't put any money on Rory. I put my money on Bryson DeChambeau, who I believe
all right.
was the guy that won.
Cash the ticket. I like it. Off to the pay window goes Mr. Jared Carr.
Yeah, it was a good Saturday or Sunday. I've missed a day. I wish it was Saturday afternoon for different things going on. No racing until late tonight, so.
Well, the racing's okay, but I'm missing football, Jared.
Well, there was USFL on today, Dean.
I'm sorry, I said I'm missing football, Jared. My Lions. I mean, I can't broadcast without talking about my Lions. But let's talk racing. Person still out front. Newton in second. It's Ratliff and Otto Viani. Spear moves to fifth. I think he gained one on pit road. That's always nice. Wrecker and Ratliff. Dibble and Hunt and Gilly in your top 10. We're going to re-rack them and reset them. Can't wait to get it going.
Yeah, and I think Spear jumped Adam Wrecker, and Jason Ratliff, George Dibble jumped a couple spots over Todd Gilly and Corey Martin, who both probably had a little damage to their fix, it looks like, based on the pit lane times. Looks like everybody's back out except Austin Hunt and Preston O'Brien.
Almost caught a little checkup problem there with Dibble, but it looked like Ratliff checked up in front of him. Green flag down and away. Now Ratliff's going to come underneath of Adam Newton for second. Can he get it? Newton's got a big head of steam. Looks like Newton might hang on. It's a little tight up there.
And Jason Spear flies around Ottaviani.
Yeah, Spear's done with any gas-saving measures. He's going for it, but Ratliff really wants second. Newton holds him off as Ratliff gets a little bit loose there. Whoa, and then cuts him down over his nose. Holy smokes.
That was an aggressive cut right there. I mean, that's how you get wrecked, unfortunately, but everybody did a good job. Two good drivers in that situation, but that was tight.
That's the definition of cutting someone's nose, Jared.
Absolutely.
So Ratliff doesn't matter. He's patient. He comes right back at it.
Oh,
not to be denied.
Up though.
Yeah, he's going to run hard. He just got ran hard. He's like, oh, you want to play? Let's play. The game is on.
Oh,
and
my God.
Newton's playing back.
Gonna hang on his right rear, Dean.
Wow. These two are going at it. There's some unhappiness here. A little bit loose for Ratliff.
I think
and he cuts the nose again.
I think these guys have raced each other pretty hard earlier this year, but I'm not entirely sure where that was. Maybe, Martinsville or Dover comes to mind as some hard racing, but right now they are not giving each other quarter at all as Ratliff moves to the high side.
Yeah, he's going to try and whip underneath him here again with a run. He'll have it. He might hang in this time. I think he's done playing with Newton because, Newton, fair game here. This is racing, baby. And if he feels he's been harmed in any way, he'll give it to you. I mean, he races hard, and sometimes it costs him, but other times he ends up on top.
I will say this. While this has been going on, the entire field is on the back bumper of these two, and you know who they're not on the back bumper of? Benoit Person.
Yeah, Bernie loved this. You go at it, boys. Fight some more, because I don't even have to run my best laps here. Like you say, those first 5 laps, take care of your stuff. I think he's been doing that and opening up the gap.
Yeah, he's just set sail at this point. I mean, he's already the gap when that caution came out, Dean, was 1.8 seconds after 52 laps. It's already 1.4 seconds, and we have been back under green for about 6 laps.
And these two are now going to have to lay hard laps to try and run them down. And when they get there, I would imagine he's going to stretch it back out. So we got about till lap 95 to go to pits here, halfway from where we were. So I'm thinking, it's just about right for these guys to get about partway there, about 25 laps in, Jared, and then Bernie might start pulling away again.
Absolutely, and that's the thing is like, once you get a lead like this, just manage the gap. Just try to stay at like 1.2 to 1.5 seconds. Don't worry about trying to run hard, and you will start pulling away from these guys.
Yeah.
I want to give a shout out in the chat. We got Paul K. Travis and Scott Olson out there. Bringing a lot of conversation out there tonight, guys. We haven't been able to get to it. We've had a lot of exciting stuff going on, so apologize. But glad to see you guys out there in the chat, and definitely enjoying this race out there, Dean.
Yeah, full chat there. Appreciate it, guys. Keep it up in that chat. Talk some stuff. We'll try and get to a few of those comments as they come in. Right now, Newton still holding off Ratliff, and that feud could reignite. Austin Hunn hits pit road. Not sure what happened with him.
Yeah, he was the one that got rear-ended. I think he's just trying to get out here and maybe see if he can get some laps in, Dean, and I think the car was just a little bit worse than he anticipated, so he's back on pit road.
10-4. This battle for second still going. Spear has taken over third place, and he's running a much faster pace. I love this, and I think that was all about fuel mileage, and maybe not just fuel mileage, but long run, right? We were looking at a 70-lap run. Well, that's been shortened now. Now we're looking at 45-lap run. A little behind him, you got Otto Viani, Hunt, and Jason Ratliff going at it.
Yeah, how about Rachel Hunt up to 6th spot? She did start 6th, but it dropped back to 9th position in that run. From what I have written down, maybe could have been 8th place. It was very close in that battle, but had moved back. Was starting to move back forward there, Dean, in that run, and had gotten back up to 7th place. And right now doing a great job holding off Adiviani and Jason Ratliff also in this battle as well, Dean.
All right, everything's shaping up here. Adiviani, you got Dibble at 9th, the Toadman in 10th. And then all the rest, I think, were involved in wrecks. You got Wolf, Martin, Tony Ratliff. They're all a little hurt. Eric Whiting out here in 14th position. But out front, Bernard Persson, now he's been caught about 2/10 they've made up on him, Jared.
Yeah, and I've been watching this, and yes, they have gained time on Bernard Persson, but as I watch Adam Newton, it's very clear to me that he is trying to drive away from Greg Ratliff and chase Bernard Persson back down. And he's not trying to save any tire based on how he's driving, listening to his throttle, all those things. I don't think there's any saving going on here, and I don't know if he's going to be able to catch up to Bernard Persson. If he does, I think Bernie's just going to turn the knob up to from a 4 to a 5 out of 10 and go away again.
Now, what about a strategy here of, hey, let's get into the pits? You know, if I'm someone, let's say George Dibble or the Toadman or something, 9th or 10th, let's go ahead and get in the pits now, get out here and run, 20 plus laps on fresh tires before everybody else pits. They come out, you'll have the lead, and you pray for a caution. How about that strategy, Jared?
That's aggressive, but, if you're running, 9th, through 13th, there's Eric Whiting 1 lap down. I think that's a viable strategy. Throw something out the window. Like, the worst you're going to do is probably finish around that same spot, maybe a couple positions worse than where you're running. Give it a go. See what happens, and you never know where it could end up.
Yeah.
Oh, Newton, very close on the exit forward, Dean. Sorry, he almost hit the wall. Very push-loose syndrome going on with the 2 car right now.
All right, Newton struggling as Hunt gets passed by Jason Ratliff, who continues to show speed out here. Tony Ratliff coming down pit road, damaged. Something bad has happened to Tony.
Yeah, he was involved in that wreck, Dean, earlier. I think he's just coming down pit road, maybe try to do the strategy thing. The car's kind of broken up and not running really well. So we'll see what he can do there. Maybe nurse this thing home.
So Bernie, as suspected, right around this time, right, we're about 25 laps into the run, he is starting to open it up again, Jared.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, like, once you get I think 1.2, 1.3 second lead, just drive to maintain that pace and that gap, and don't overdrive. You let these guys try to catch you. Don't try to increase that gap, because it's a lot harder to increase that gap than it is for them to catch it up to you. So I think that Bernie's a veteran. He's going to keep doing that, and he's playing a smart races. Greg Ratliff all over the back of the 2 machine again, Dean.
Yeah, and all of a sudden they just closed up 2 or 3 tenths on him in a lap or two. So Bernard Person's having some kind of issue up there, falling a little bit, or maybe just one bad lap. I'm not sure.
I think he's just relaxing. I think he's relaxing. He knows these 2 guys behind him are battling hard, and I think he's just sitting there saying, "Hey, I don't need to push this thing." Like, once they get, he's probably got a number in my mind. My number is 1.2 seconds. His mind, it might be 0.7. But I think he's playing this thing really smart, Dean.
Well, I mean, smart one thing, but it's down to 9 tenths now. Newton and Ratliff are coming. I'd say it's time to go if you got anything. I mean, he looks solid up there. We'll see how this plays out. A little further back, it's Spear and Adam Recker, and they're both still in this thing, looking strong. Jason Ratliff moved up to 6th. He's our big mover, now up 7 spots.
We got George Leal joining the chat now, so we got the whole gang out there of some Xfinity and Truck Series veterans of RGR out there enjoying probably some time off today for, Father's Day or vacations and things like that. Out there supporting the broadcast. We appreciate it, guys. We got battles starting to heat up on the track as you see Adam Recker and Jason Spear battle for 4th position there, Dean.
Yeah, we're on board here with Adam Recker right behind Jason Spear. You can see our leader right at the forefront of our screen. And as he tries to make that low move on Spear, that's a tough move in 3 and 4, Jared.
Yeah, it is, and it's because of that angle, right? I mean, 1 and 2, you're kind of dipping into the corner, right? You can kind of work with that banking. 3 and 4, you're trying to work against the banking because it drops. You don't drop in, the banking drops out, right? So it kind of makes it hard to do anything except pass on the high side.
So good run here, but pretty evenly matched cars. Up a little further, back to Greg Ratliff's car, and you can see they're closing in on Bernard Person.
And Jason Ratliff ran the really high side, but he almost hit the wall, but did a good job staying off of that.
One thing I did notice is he's kind of running where Newton isn't, and that's always a good thing, isn't it, Jared?
Yeah, I mean,
just for air, right? I mean, if you get it right in the tire tracks as someone else, you're liable to get push condition, are you not?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, that's the thing about the aero is you got to run where somebody else isn't, because it's just making that car tighter and tighter behind you. And Ratliff really kind of dropped off the last couple seconds. I was going back to see what happened there, Dean, and I missed it initially what you were talking about. So I'm not entirely sure why he dropped off, but he is kind of fading a little bit here.
Well, we've seen that in the first run right around this time. So, unfortunately, though, this long run is not going to be a long run here. It's now at lap 84 going to 85. Probably 95 is going to be pit stops. So let's bring up our pit board. I actually seen when the last pit was. So that was on 52. So I'm going to predict around, 97 to 100, you'll see guys come in.
Yeah, I think that's a viable strategy because, again, you don't want to leave you want to have laps on the back end to kind of let the car come in, because if you pit with 20 or 30 laps to go, you're not going to have enough time to make up the time you've lost by staying out that long. So, I mean, honestly, if I'm sitting there, if I'm George Dibble or Todd Gilly, Thomas Wolfe, who does have some damage, Rachel Hunt even, I might gamble and come down pit road.
I mean, I would have already been in here. Why not? Then when we cycle out, I got the lead for like 10 laps or something, and I can hope for a caution. I got some hope. If I don't do that, I'm just thinking about whether I'm going to finish 7th or 8th, and I never liked that, Jared.
Yeah, I mean, you might, it depends on where you're at in points. If you're bound for a title, you've gotta point race, right? I don't think there's playoffs. I'm not entirely sure, but you definitely have to just kind of let the car, let the race come to you and not do anything aggressive. But if you're somebody looking for a win, go aggressive, go all the way, see what happens.
Hop back on board with Wrecker here in 5th as he's continually stalking Jason Spear. I think he's a little quicker. He just cannot make this pass, Jared.
Yeah, and that's the thing we talked about earlier. Off the corner of 4, you just the banking just breaks away so heavily, and it makes it so difficult to try to make a pass.
So approaching lap 90 here, 51 more laps remaining in this race. Can Bernard Persson get it done? He's been itching to get a win in this series, Jared. It has not been easy for him. Several second place finishes.
Yeah, and with Austin Hund out, basically out of this race, he's 21 laps down. Now, he has actually taken the car to the garage to join Preston O'Brien and Tony Ratliff. That means there's only one winner on the track. That's Greg Ratliff. Everybody else out here hasn't won a race yet, Dean.
So the lead down to about 7/10. Newton getting there, trying everything he can to get there. And I see he has been running the higher line in 3 and 4. I like that. Here in 1 and 2, he was a little high even. So he's trying to keep that momentum up, Jared.
Yeah, he is. And I think, Bernard Persson has moved up the track as well. But, I'm a little bit surprised. I don't know, Bernie may have ran harder than I anticipated. Dean, it looked like he was kind of maintaining the gap, but right now, I mean, he has kind of slipped back over the last few laps, Dean.
The Toad Man, Todd Gilly, brings the Kailu glass machine onto pit road. So scheduled stop there for him.
Yeah, and I like that gamble. Get on and off pit road early and see where this thing shakes out for you. Just don't speed.
There you go. Do not speed. So it looks like Bernie edging out just a hair here, the last corner or two, as he maybe, it might be a little too late here, Jared. He's got about 5 more laps. I mean, I say if you got anything left in those tires, use them up now.
Yeah, I think you got to go hard and, for whatever your fuel number is, right? Run as hard as you can from here on to your fuel number. And dictate this pace a little bit right now. But Adam Newton's still chopping in to this lead just ever so slightly. It's not massive, but it's about a half a tenth every lap. So a tenth every 2 laps. And it's just closing in just a little bit, down to half a second now.
Let's bring up the delta here, and we can just see, and it's kind of all over the place. A little give and take. Over the last 5 laps, it looks like about 1/100 of a second, Jared, difference. Some in favor of Bernie, some in favor of Newton.
Yeah, it's so fine, but the Newton is gaining it is just a little bit.
Now let me ask you this, Jared. You ever driven in second like Newton and swear each and every lap you're getting closer, and you look down at the relative and it still says the same thing?
Oh, yeah, it happens all the time.
It does. Very frustrating feeling. Iowa will do that to you. You swear you're closing, but you never reach your destination.
Yeah, and it gets frustrating. You have to kind of put that in the back of your mind and just try to drive. But sometimes it's easier said than done. You're wanting, we're racers. You're trying to go out there and catch these guys up, and you feel like you just need to go a little bit faster, a little bit harder, and it just doesn't seem to pan out every time.
Bernard Persson now getting up to about 8/10 in the corner. We'll check it at the line and see what this gap truly is.
Adam Recker has made the pass on Jason Spear in 3 and 4. He slid it down in there, and he finally got it done. I mean, he had to really sling it in there, but he did a good job. So put Recker up into 4th position, Dean.
Well, let's quickly look at it here as pit stops are ready to commence. You see Recker coming down into 3 and 4. He puts it down on the bottom. Spear gets a little tight there, trying to wash out. Well, looked like Spear got that one back. That pass probably happens a little later on, but you get the idea of how it happened. That was probably the very spot and how it went down.
So right now, I mean, you're looking at these guys, right now, the top 3 have definitely established themselves, right? It's about 2 seconds back to record from the top 3. The gap, Greg and Ratliff is on. Greg Ratliff.
Yeah, he had to come in. He was hemorrhaging time. So Greg Ratliff, first of our leaders to come on pit road here on lap 100.
Vianney follows him in.
Yes, sir. Doc Ock is in.
And let's see who comes in this lap. Will Adam Newton jump in, or will it be Bernard Person? It will be neither.
Yeah, I mean, these guys
Adam Recker's coming in, though.
So Recker's in. Spears in, I think. Yes. Barely.
Goodness gracious. He almost hit the barrels.
Well, those barrels will get you, boy. So Wrecker and Spear hit pit road. Now Person and Newton, they got to make a call here. They can stay out, but not long, Jared.
Yeah, you don't want to try to come through the field. Bernard Person's on pit road. Adam Newton is too. Adam Newton aggressive on pit road entry. He's going to close the gap down. Bernie a little bit too conservative there, Dean, and that's going to cost him some time.
Well, I mean, I like it. I like it in the sense of let's not make any mistakes. Newton getting very proficient on pit road. He does what he does. He closes that gap right up. So we're going to have a battle now.
That turns it over to George Dibble in the 94 McDonald's machine. He's going to take the lead, and Jason Ratliff is going to be the first car 2 laps down, trying to chase him down to get one of those laps back. Yeah, he is the first car 1 lap down right now until they pass some other guys. Bernard Person leaving pit road. Adam Newton beats him off pit road.
Wow! He beat him off of pit road. How would he do that? A slow stop for Mr. Person. Adam Newton, your race leader. And he not only beat him off pit road, he scooted away to boot. Wow!
Yeah, the pit lane times, Dean, that's your difference. 40.9 pit lane time. Bernard Person 42.5. Just too conservative all across the board. And Jason Ratliff just passed George Dibble to get his lap back. He is the only car on the lead lap besides George Dibble. Now Greg Ratliff gets his lap back.
Bernie was the first one in the stall. What would take you stall time there? I don't even know, Jared.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that maybe he may have made an adjustment, or maybe had a double, like, maybe something was clicked that shouldn't have been. I'm not entirely sure.
I thought you were going to say a double shot or something. That's possible. So Dibble out there leading. He's got a pit. Jason Ratliff out behind him. I'm pretty sure Jason has to pit, but let's look in on it. Jason pitted on lap 96, so Jason the big winner here with the early pit stop. I love it. Jason Ratliff did a little bit of a move, got himself the lead. Greg Ratliff was second in. He comes out in second, so now Newton is 2 seconds behind these guys. He's got Bernard Person with him. They're going to have to run him down. This race is flipped.
It has, and the thing is I'm watching Jason Ratliff. He has about a 3-lap tire disadvantage to Greg Ratliff. And he's not really that much slower than Greg Ratliff. About a tenth and a half right now. So, I mean, Greg Ratliff is coming. He's going to pass him, I think. But can he hold off until the tires level out? That's going to be the key. And George Dibble continuing to stay out. So he is maybe trying to save fuel. I think that's aggressive. I don't think he's going to make it. But I think that this is he's just trying to stretch his fuel all the way out.
This is wild stuff. I mean, you got to love the position of Greg Ratliff, but I think I love the position of Jason Ratliff. Number 1 would be the best. I mean, Dibble's in first, but he has to pit, so I like what he's doing too. Let's ride it out, man. Maybe a caution comes out.
Yeah, if you're in that position, you have 2 options. You're either the first one on pit road like we talked about, or you ride this thing until the tank's dry and hope for a caution. And there is a little bit of battle. 6th, 7th, and 8th are close on the track, but otherwise there's not a lot of guys really close together on the track right now.
Yeah, that's Spear, Ottaviani. You got Gilly right there. There's Dibble, your race leader. So the McDonald's machine currently has 16.5-second lead, but he's losing that about, a second and a half a lap or so. So that's going to go away in a hurry. But he's got, he's got another 10 laps to sit out here and hope for a caution.
And here's the battle for the de facto lead. Jason Ratliff trying to hold off Greg Ratliff right now, and Greg Ratliff is there.
The sauce it up machine.
And it doesn't look like, Jason's going to pull over or anything. He's going to make Greg work for it, but Greg undercuts him off the corner, and it's going to be tough for Jason to hold on. They're going to battle. into turn 1, and Ratliff Greg of the Greg variety takes second place.
Yeah, and that move that's a patented Greg Ratliff there, at least tonight. 3 and 4. He likes that little cut down with momentum, and he'll get you through 1 and 2. So great move by Greg. Now he can set the pace, and I don't know if they can catch him. I mean, I think they can catch him, but I don't know if they can pass him.
Oh, Jason's in the wall.
Jason Ratliff?
Ratliff, yeah, apologies.
So he got a little piece of the wall. He looks like he's all right. Trying to push that machine beyond what it's capable of, perhaps.
George Dibble still has not pitted. Much to the chagrin of Jason Ratliff, who did not get any bonus points there.
George Leal out there saying that's a big time stop. It was a game changer, someone put a question to, and absolutely. I mean, a great decision by Greg. Newton's stop was phenomenal, getting in front of Person as the two of them come up on Jason Ratliff now. So we're down to about, 35 to go, a little over that. And it's looking like this is going to come down to Newton and Ratliff. Can Person get back in this thing?
Yeah, I think, and that's tough. I mean, Bernard Person, just one little, mistake getting on pit road and a little bit slow into his box, it looked like, from what I could tell, just kind of missed that sign just a little bit, and I think that kind of slowed him down as well. Don't know that for sure. But he is now having to play catch-up, and now can he get back up here? And Dean, my hunch is no. I think this is in the bag of Adam Newton or Greg Ratliff at this point.
Well, and that's the other thing, that you got Jason Ratliff up here. Well, he cut him any slack with his brother out there leading. Doesn't look like it. Newton's got to hang low here. He'll get him in 1 and 2, though.
He does get by, but Jason Ratliff is still closing it back up, and not too easy. He's going to battle a little bit hard with Adam Newton. No, he doesn't. He had the opportunity to dive underneath there, but elected not to.
Yeah, that's a good move there. I like to see these guys race it out. Right now, Greg Ratliff with over 1 second on Adam Newton. It's still Dibble, though. How about Dibble? 24 to go. He's still on the track, still leading.
Yeah, I think he might be able to make it, but if he is able to make it, he is probably not going to win this race at the rate that these guys are closing on. I mean, they're gaining a second a lap, so you're talking 8 more laps, and he's going to lose the lead if he pits or doesn't pit.
Yeah, either way he's going to lose it, but his chances of making it, I'd say, were slim to none. You're looking at 90 laps, Jared. I don't think he's got that in him.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think that's a extremely big saving, but we'll see what happens. I mean, he's still hoping for that caution. It could still come, as Jason Ratliff and Bernard Person having all kinds of problems trying to pass that 55 machine right now in the 8.
Yeah, he's not cutting the 8 any slack here at all. Nor does he have to. 21 laps to go. He's trying to hold on to what would be a third-place finish.
Yeah, podium is important, and it's not like there's any chopping or pinching going on. I mean, it's just Bernard Person has not been able. Oh man, and so what's gone on the last couple of laps when I'm watching this battle? 1 lap, Jason Ratliff will run high. Bernie tries to get underneath them, can't pass him. Ratliff goes back, runs high. Bernie runs high, and then this time Ratliff went low, and Bernie thought he was going to go high and almost ran the back of him. So that's kind of been the issue with this pass, is Bernie's trying to size him up, and and Jason's doing the opposite of what Bernie's thinking.
Well, he caught him at the wrong time, right? This is when those tires kind of equalize out. Yep. We're seeing that between Greg Ratliff and Adam Newton. Newton, he shaved off maybe 0.05 of a second, Jared. That's about it.
Yeah. And now the key is, can Adam Newton catch up to Greg Ratliff? 1. 2, how will that battle be? And 3, who's going to come out on the other side?
I'm telling you what. And we still got Dibble leading, don't forget. So Dibble's out here down to 6 seconds now as Wrecker looks to go around him.
So that's going to put everybody back on the lead lap that was 1 lap down. Wrecker speeding in pits, so his night came undone with that 90-second pit lane time. as he had to serve that penalty. So he will not
Here
be
comes
very happy
Dibble
about
now.
that.
So Dibble comes on to pit road, trying to hang on the yellow line there. Really early entrance into pit road. Wow.
Yeah, at the end of the day, he tried something and it didn't pay off. But he could have gotten that caution, and then things have been totally different for him.
So you see our leader. There's Greg Ratliff. There's Newton. Now 0.8, 0.9, around that range. Looks like Greg Ratliff is in the catbird seat. Not the catbird seat. What am I looking for here, Jared?
Catbird seat. Yeah, catbird
Now
seat.
Catbird
Right?
would be like third place, sitting behind two guys. So we'll leave that one alone, as I have brain freeze here tonight. But he's controlling this race, is what I'm trying to say. The 5 out front doing everything right. Now kind of opening it up. And then could this just be clean air and clean track here, Jared?
Absolutely. Clean air is king, and it is always king. So I've seen guys that have cars that are just not very good. They get out in the lead, and all of a sudden they look like they are the best driver on the track. And that clean air is extremely important.
Looking on the Toad Man, he's in 7th here, so not a bad run for the Toad Man. He slipped in front of Rachel Hunt here now. He continues to rock that higher side through 1 and 2.
Yeah, and right now, I mean, the guy that I think you got to feel a little bit for him is Bernard Person. I mean, he dominated this race, Dean. Just absolutely dominated this race. And this race, regardless of how it ends up, the storyline of tonight is going to be pit stops, right? Adam Recker taking himself out of contention with a speeding penalty. Bernard Person may have taken himself out of contention as well with a little bit of a slow entry, slow pit stop in general, and really tough race for Bernard Person.
Well,
sure.
yeah, I mean, you can say a little bit of that about Bernie, but how about giving Newton the credit, too? I mean, he had a whale of a pit stop.
He did. He had the fastest pit lane time. I mean, 40.9. It was a half a second faster than Greg Ratliff. Jason Ratliff was the second best at 41.3. Then you have Jason Spear at 41.7, and so on and so forth. So, I mean, it has been tough. But the other thing, too, is Jason Ratliff, give him his flowers. He has been able to hold on and maintain third position, which would be one of his best finishes of the year, Dean.
Yeah, and that's why you fight, right? Like, Person was all over him, saying, why are you fighting me, blah, whatever, the thoughts that go through a driver's head. And now Jason's got 10 car lengths on him and thinking, that's why, because I want third.
Yeah, third would be a huge night for that machine. And right now, Dean, it's starting to spread out just a little bit. Newton is gaining it's just a marginal amount every lap. But it's not enough to make
That's
it.
Iowa. I mean, this is why, we talked to a guy like Baron Labosco, who is in the booth on Thursday nights. He wants to be the first in, Jared. He wants them to chase you. He does not like being the chaser.
Absolutely, and I agree with that. I think there is part of that. Oh, Jason Ratliff just about wiped out coming off turn 4. That thing got super loose. Apologies there. Definitely caught me by surprise. But Barron's exactly right. I mean, you have to be able to make these guys pass you, and it's easier to try to hold people off than it is to chase people down.
So Newton trying everything, trying different lines, different things, trying to find some speed, but the gap remains virtually the same.
And the thing is Newton isn't really moving around the track. He needs to use some other area of the track instead of running in the tire tracks. Even if you don't like running the low line, and there you go, he is starting to move down now. You're going to have to get yourself some clean air on that machine.
Yeah, I mean, right now he just can't find anywhere to be significantly better, and closed in a little bit on entry there, but a great run off by the 5. And it looks like the 5 has his blinker on here from the in-car of Newton. Not sure if they have blinkers, but it looks like he's flashing like he's going to turn right. Don't turn right, Greg. That's an odd sensation there. We'll see if it does it again. And there it goes.
Yeah, I don't know what was happening there.
Just catching the lights from the stands at a weird situation.
Yeah. But, you know, we talked about it earlier, Dean, and I got to say, I was taking the field tonight. I mean, you had, you know, 14 drivers that hadn't won a race, only 2 that had in this field tonight. Opportunity was ripe for somebody like Bernard Persson or Adam Newton to get the job done, get themselves into victory lane. But here we go, 5 laps to go, and it's Greg Ratliff leading, who's already won multiple times this year, Dean.
Yeah. And I mean, we've talked it to death, and we talk about it all the time. The importance here. There's levels to this stuff, Jared. Strategy being the next level. Pit stops, pit times. These are of utmost importance when you get to be running up at the front. First, you got to find the speed, but once you do, there's more levels. Greg has all those levels leveled up, and he is back out front where he usually is.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's looking really smooth sailing with 3 to go here, Dean. I'm looking around the rest of the field. Only other battle is between Rachel Hunt and Thomas Wolfe. It's about a half a second to a second right there. Bernard Persson is starting to inch back up to Jason Ratliff as well, but that's about the only thing we got going on. No side-by-side action right now on the track. It's just really Greg Ratliff setting sail and putting a clinic on.
Yeah, I mean, truly, Greg just showing them the way here. Very frustrating for the likes of Newton, his brother Jason Ratliff, and Bernard Persson. But for the Sauce It Up team, for the DirtySpatula.com, they're loving this. The title car coming to take the white flag.
There are some cars that are a little bit ahead. They will not play a factor in the finish of this race, I don't believe. Gilly about 4 seconds ahead in 9th position of the race leader, the last car on the lead lap, so I don't think he will be a factor in the finish of this race as Ratliff continues off turn number 2.
Yeah, it's down into 3. All is well for the 5 machine. Beautiful line, nice and clean. He'll be your winner in the Sauce It Up Iowa 125. Adam Newton will be 2nd, Jason Ratliff 3rd, Persson settles for 4th, Spear 5th, Ottaviani 6th. Here comes Hunt to hold on to 7th, with Thomas Wolfe will be coming home in 8th, the Toad Man 9th, and Dibble recovers for a 10th place finish, a lap down.
Yeah, what a run by Greg Ratliff, Dean. It looked like, you know, the first stanza of this race, it was looking like the Bernard Persson show. It looked like Greg Ratliff was the 3rd best, maybe an opportunity to become the 2nd best in the race. But it didn't look like anybody was going to hold a torch to Bernard Persson until pit stops came. Greg Ratliff made the middle call, I would call it, Dean. He pitted on lap 99. A couple guys pitted before that. He ends up being the guy to take over the lead, and he set sail once he got that clean air.
Incredible. And he is happy. He's got all the right to be happy. He made the great call, getting in there early, getting it done. Right now, let's get some sponsorship work done, and when we come back, we'll get some race interviews in. Oh, look at the GT3 Mustang out there, looking nice. Some of these cars, it sounds great anyway, Jared.
Yeah, absolutely. I haven't had a chance to try that one just yet, but they sound and look nice. But we'll have to get on there and do some laps with it.
Absolutely. I mean, hey, if you get me out there, show me how it's done. Jared, you're quite the road racer, folks. But here tonight, quite a little race there, and the pit road was the deciding factor. Greg Ratliff, your race winner. And, the heartbreak for person on pit road. But let's get into some race interviews here. I believe, Jared, you're down with third place.
Yeah, I'm sitting on the pit wall with Jason Ratliff coming off his tying his best finish of the year with third place. Jason, congratulations on a great podium finish.
Yeah, thank you, Jared.
Well, let's talk about your race. I mean, you started back in 13th position out of these 16 cars. You started pretty much at the back there. You methodically moved your way up. You made your way up, I think, to 6th place before that lap 50 caution. Let's talk about how you were able to get through so many cars early on.
Really, I was just slow off the start, so I was able to get a run and use my tires up to make the pass and then cool them off and try to make a pass when I had good grip, and just things kind of fell in my lap, and I tried to make it, take advantage of it.
Well, you did a good job doing that. And then let's talk about, some other battles. You had a little bit of battles out there with Rachel Hunt and a couple other people in there. Ottaviani was also battling with you. Jason Spear. You seemed like you were able to hold those guys off. And then we had that caution come out. You restart 6th position. What was your strategy now that you're so far up in the field that you didn't have to pick your way through the field anymore?
Well, my strategy kind of flipped there. It went from fuel saving to run as fast and consistent as I can, and depending on how I'm doing when the pit window kind of opens about midway, then I'll hit the pits and I'll run it hard and try to fend off people and finish best I can. I didn't think I was going to win. I was just trying to get a good finish.
Well, you definitely did that. So you decided to come into pits on lap 96, which was the first out of the top 10 or so drivers there. You come down pit road, you come out, you didn't technically have the lead. There was George Dibble still out there running around trying to hope for a caution, but you came out in 2nd place, and you had a little bit of gap on Greg Ratliff and Adam Newton. Did you think that you had any opportunity to hold those guys off? And then you also had the hard-charging Bernard Person, and you were able to hold him off on older tires.
Yeah, I got lucky with Bernard, to be honest. But the top 2 guys, Greg and Newton, I went too hard when I came out of the pits. I should have just kind of coasted and managed my gap until it came time to go, then really hit it hard. But, you live and you learn. But I'm happy with the P3.
Well, Jason, you should be. A good finish tonight. Ties your best in the year. I'm going to turn the mic over to you and let you have the last word on your race tonight.
I'd just like to thank you guys for putting on the broadcast. I'd like to thank all my teammates. I'd like to thank George and Todd for all the work they do behind the scenes. And thanks to all the sponsors that we have here.
All right, Dean, that was our 3rd place finisher, Jason Ratliff. And I believe you're down there with our runner-up tonight, Adam Newton.
Yes, sir. The Bulldog, the number 2, Adam Newton, 2nd place with what only can be described as a fantastic pit stop. Congrats on 2nd here, Adam.
Thank you.
Now, we're excited that you got 2nd. I think you're excited you got 2nd, but someone else took an earlier pit stop and stole this win here tonight. So, are you satisfied with 2nd here tonight?
Nah.
Okay.
Nah. Well, y'all can attest to this. The air. That was the name of the game tonight.
Well, it is. There's no doubt about that, right? Clean air is king out here, Adam. And, you were working behind guys a lot of the night here. Well, you were actually fighting. Let's talk about your battle with Greg. I found that highly entertaining. Was there a little bit of bad blood going on there between you and Greg earlier in the race?
No, I was just going to try to keep him behind me. And, because I knew if he got it in front of me, he'd do the same thing he did to me. So We ran each other clean. I mean, uh, I knew that if he got around me, he was going to put the air on me. And if I stayed in front of him, I could put the air on him. But we were going to both burn our stuff up. So.
Well, you talk about the air now and the dumping the air. Maybe we seen you cut his nose a couple of times. Was that purposeful to kind of dump that air on him there?
Oh yeah, to get him tight. I mean, I know y'all saw it at the end of the race when he went and took the line I was using. I had to go look for another line. I mean, it's like driving a dump truck almost when the air comes across the nose if they change lines on you. And I mean, once they're there, they're there. There's no getting up and racing them door to door no more.
Yeah, it's definitely difficult, but let's talk about your pit stop, Adam. I mean, you've been working on it for a long time. You've been one of the best now for quite a while. How did you feel about tonight's stop and beating Bernie off of pit road, which we thought might be a race-winning move at the time?
I was thinking the same thing, but I thought Bernie was the class of the field. I mean, and I was hoping he was going to win, but I definitely beat him on and off pit road, and I found the little tidbits that you and Jared talk about getting in and out your stall. That makes a daggone difference as far as getting out of that pit stall quick. And that second pit stop, I nailed it. And but I wish I could have got around a couple of the guys on the track a little bit quicker, and I think we could have had a battle. But that was definitely the difference at the end of the race. I just couldn't make that time up that we lost trying to get around them two cars.
Yeah, no doubt about it. But a hell of a run here, Adam. We look forward to New Hampshire. Now, how you feel about New Hampshire?
Yeah, I didn't get really to race it much last time I was there, but yeah, I don't know. This package, I can't really say. I mean,
All right, a little
driver
bit of an
wise,
unknown, perhaps.
yeah, it definitely unknown, especially with the new package.
Well, I'll get my money out and I'll say, folks, you could put Newton and pencil him in for a top 3 finish. He'll find his way because he works hard at it. Congratulations, Newton, putting this car up into second place once again. One of these days, I will get you into victory lane here in this Xfinity series. So,
Yeah, I appreciate it, guys. Appreciate Todd, George, Spear Chucker, Greg, the rest of the admins, and thank you, Dean, and thank you, Jared, for doing the broadcast.
all right, Jared,
And Mama Jeans. Mama Jeans,
don't
too.
forget the
Pays the
magic
bills.
relish.
The magic relish pays the bills.
All right, Jared, that was Adam Newton, second place here tonight.
Yeah, and I'm down here with the winner, Greg Ratliff, started third and looked like maybe you're going to finish third, but you end up grabbing the win. What a job. Congratulations here tonight.
Oh, thanks a lot, man. A little bit surprised myself there at the second pit stop that came out there in the lead, and it was just up on the wheel from that point on.
Well, let's talk about it. I mean, you come into pit road before the top two. So you pit a couple laps before the top two guys do. You get on and off pit road pretty well. And you're just kind of cruising. You're catching up to Jason there, pass him, and then Adam Newton and Bernard Person look like they're gaining on you. Was the clean air the difference there at the end of that race?
I think the clean air and the fact that there was a couple, after I passed Jason, there was a couple cars between us, and the couple seconds I had on him there was probably, I knew he was going to have to drive pretty hard to cut that gap down. So I just drove the wheels off of it. I mean, wasn't no need saving tires at that point. I figured if I pushed mine, he'd have to push his, and it worked out.
Well, he did a good job. Let's talk about the beginning part of that race, right? It looked like that car wasn't handling for you or something. It just looked like you were able to get up to Adam Newton, and then it just seemed like the car kind of went away. Did you feel like that was, a line issue or an aero issue or just something that you just hadn't figured out with the track yet?
Yeah, Adam and I was actually talking about that before the interviews here, and that's what he was saying once he got behind cars. Same deal, what you just brought up. So yeah, I think it was probably an aero issue. It's just once you get to them, I mean, you just lose your handling, and you just have to settle back in and just try to conserve your stuff.
We did a good job, and at the end of the day, the field coming into tonight, we had 16 guys. Only 2 of them had won a race yet this year. Yourself and Austin Hun there. I bet at the top of the broadcast that it was the field. Dean said he picked you, so I think that I came up on the bad end of it, but you did not. You got the win, and kind of helps you in the point standings. How much are you looking forward to the rest of this year, knowing you got a couple wins in the bag?
Oh yeah, man. I love this Xfinity car, and I look forward to each and every week. I enjoy the practice time with the fellas, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I hope you know, Lance Ripka, he's off serving the country, doing his duties, and he'll be back in the mix, I'm sure. And all these other guys, Adam, and there's several others that could sneak up in there. So you just have to keep working hard at it.
Well, Greg, congratulations on your race tonight and getting that victory and opening up that point lead a little bit. And I'm going to turn the mic over to you, let you have the last word on your race here tonight, and congratulations again on that victory.
Yeah, I want to thank some sponsors, Dirty Spatula for sponsoring us through this week, and then Affordable Construction Specialists for the trucks, and a live church also, and Wind Tunnel TV. You guys do a great job. I always enjoy watching that the next morning, and all my teammates and all the admins here at RGR.
All right, Dean, that's Greg Ratliff grabbing another win on the year when it looked like maybe the odds were against him early on.
Well, they were, right? I mean, he said it. It was Bernie's race to win. Newton took that spot away on pit road, but Greg outsmarted him, outwit him, outdrove him at the end, and that's kind of what he does here. Another victory for the 5. Thrilling event here. And, we go to New Hampshire next year. Any thoughts on New Hampshire? I mean, that might be my favorite track.
It's a great track, but I think with the current car, it is going to be hard to pass, and it is going to be very difficult. And I expect some guys to be very frustrated trying to pass, guys that they may feel like they're faster than, even more so than Iowa, because it's a flat track, makes it really, really difficult to kind of make a move on people. So it's going to be interesting to see how that race transpires, and I'm looking forward to it next week.
Yeah, well, of course, we'll have all that coverage like we do every Sunday at 9-10 p.m. It's the RGR Racing League with the DirtySpatula.com on board. But for myself, Dean Doucette, for Mr. Jared Carr, it's going to wrap it up from Iowa, and we'll see you right here next time on Wind Tunnel TV.